My favorite zone in the game has always been that of Elwynn Forest. And there is lore behind the Elwynn Forest. And the lore does not have to do with the fact that essentially Moonguard has turned Lion's Pride Inn into a sex dungeon. No, there's more behind it than just that, and we're going to find out exactly what Elwynn Forest is all about today. Let's check this out.
And welcome to Azeroth, and the first step in a new adventure I wish to take you on. For a while, we've covered the hidden secrets and environmental Easter eggs of the world of Warcraft, and though we've touched on some larger lore topics, we haven't hit the broad subjects yet, the stories of the zones we've been exploring. So today I wanted to begin a series traveling through World of Warcraft, looking at its rich history and long-spanning lore, and I figured what better place to start than with where my personal journey in the game did. So let's take a look at the lore of Elwynn Forest. Hello there, my name is Lee, and welcome to Full Motion Videos, where we cover the lore, secrets, and smaller stories from your favorite fantasy, science fiction, and superhero franchises. We're talking everything from World of Warcraft to Star Wars to Super Smash Bros. If that sounds interesting to you, you can show it by subscribing for more. And while you're down there, let me know what zone you want me to cover the lore of next. But with that out of the way, let's get started. In the deepest reaches of the territories held by the Alliance, you will find a verdant and lush woodland.
Beautiful music.
This is Elwynn Forest, heartland of the Kingdom of Stormwind, where many people live peaceful lives, and others start the first steps in what will become a lifelong adventure. For as powerful as the kingdom that calls it home has become, little is known about the forest's history before members of the royal Arathi bloodline from Stormgrad immigrated and settled here. During the centuries where human nations flourished across all of the eastern kingdoms, Stormwind was the smallest and most isolated, founded by Faldir of Erethdor after he led an expedition out to sea to find a new homeland. Discovering the beauty of the Elwynn Forest, Faldir and his followers settled and built a city nestled amongst the cliffs and natural harbor. The city-state grew slowly, far away from the other
honestly, as far as cities go in-game, there's nothing really realistic about any of them. But I feel like the location of Stormwind City, with the natural harbor and the what's it called, the pond at the front, you know, creating kind of a natural moat and everything. It's the most realistic city of them all. Stormwind's the most realistic city in the game. I love Stormwind, man. I always liked it.
Human nations with small farms and villages blossoming
Borealis
into
is pretty good
towns
too. Pretty realistic too. I'm not gonna lie.
Woodland. Before long, they'd spread into the tall Red Ridge Mountains in the east, the flat farmlands to the west in Westfall, and the especially fertile forests to the south in Brightwood. Several settlements were even attempted in the foreboding swamps of the Black Morass, though none of these ever seemed to gain any real foothold. For a while, these people lived in harmony with the land and the beasts, the boars and bears and wolves that roamed it. Cohabitation was even found with the large spiders that called the forest home. It's easy to see why these humans thrived here. An untouched Elwynn Forest was a veritable paradise. Lush glades and verdant forests are outlined with a labyrinth of rushing rivers, lakes of crystal clear waters, and waterfalls curtaining the mountains that frame the land. Frequent rains have made for rich soil for farmlands, orchards, and vineyards, and the waters are full to the brim with fish to catch. These features combined have led to 4 industries growing to power the kingdom's economy: farming, fishing, logging, and mining. Though the breeders of Elwynn have also grown famous for the quality of their Evandale horses, steeds prized for their loyalty and steadiness even in the face of danger. Regardless of their profession, all of these people are hardworking, creating a constant stream of food and goods for their kingdom and capital, the ever-growing city of Stormwind. Amongst the more successful settlements in the area is the town of Goldshire, built in the foothills to the southeast of Stormwind proper. To this day, the village is a popular
It's literally a village of 2 buildings. It's got 2 buildings in it, and for some reason, nothing has ever touched my heart the way Goldshire has. I fucking love Goldshire. Maybe it's just the excitement of like coming upon a village. You know, when you first get there, it's like the first village you see in the game after you leave Northshire. If you're a human, there's something very exciting about it, and I still love this place, man.
to rest before making their way into the city to get their bearings
Gotta be the most
before
famous
starting
in
a
the
long
game.
journey,
Lion's Pride
or as
Inn.
one of the first steps in finding their own heroic adventure. It's also become a popular destination for those wishing to mingle, sharing drinks and stories over games of Hearthstone, or friendly duels in and around the Farley family's Lion's Pride Inn, and sometimes sharing experiences that stretch into the small hours of the morning.
Yeah.
To the northeast, behind thick walls of stone, lies the Northshire Abbey, home of the religious order known as the Brotherhood of Northshire. Mostly a safe haven for new adventurers to find their footing, the abbey was first constructed long ago by clerics of the emergent Church of the Holy Light in Lordaeron, wishing to spread their beliefs to their cousins to the south. Since arriving in Stormwind, this pious order has become a critical component to the kingdom, a source of wisdom for those who seek it.
Religion's definitely a big part of Stormwind.
For those who need it in hard times, soothers and healers to help both civilians and soldiers alike, and even hunters of the dangerous animals that might cause harm to the innocent. Along the forest's edge, hugging the waters leading into Westfall, you can find the Westbrook garrison, standing resolute against Gnoll invaders from across the river. Despite periods where corruption in Stormwind City proper has led to a lack of support from the city's army, Westbrook has remained strong, never failing in its duties to protect the Heartland, and often recruiting young adventurers to help them when reinforcements fail to arrive. Far to the east, one can find the appropriately named East Vale Logging Camp. These humans are straight shooters when it comes to their naming conventions, though the lumberyard has grown into more of a small town than a camp at this point. Located at the base and comfortably in the shadow of the Red Ridge Mountains, these mills are never still, as orders for fine Elwynn lumber continue to pile in. Lumberjacks populate the area, living in the numerous homes that have been built for the workers in this growing village. The nearby
I don't know what it is. There's something about these vanilla zones that just feels like so well fleshed out and alive. You got logging camps, like this is just a starting zone. Remember that, guys. This is just like literally a zone that you're going to be in until what level? I don't know, what level 8 or something, maybe less. And yet all of this story and fleshing out and like it just feels alive. Something about Elwynn Forest always felt like, man, there's a lot going on here, even though it's just a forest. I don't know. I feel like they try to do that with more recent zones. Maybe because I'm used to it now, like I expect it. And when I first got to Elwynn Forest for the first time ever, I didn't. It was like, this is crazy. This is a video game. This is how shit goes. But something about it is just, it's magical, man. It's alive.
Features an island at its heart, described as a once great bastion of faith. Now, sadly, it is all but abandoned, with a monument remembering the fallen dead of wars gone by, overrun by unworthy bandits and rogue wizards. Deep in the rolling hills of the forest, one may come across the Tower of Azora, just off the ribbon of road connecting Goldshire to Eastvale. This small mage's tower is run by several sorcerers, each a servant of their unseen master Azora, busy as they tinker with arcane artifacts, battle living buckets, and calm mutant butterflies affected by the area's magical aura. There are whispers that the tower is all that is left of the town of Sunnyglade, a wealthy and prosperous village wiped off the map during wars past. That sadly segues us into the fact that the success of these humans does not mean they face no adversity. This forest is no stranger to deadly dangers. Apart from the large predators like bears and wolves.
Man, that burned down house did you guys see that house that exploded in Pennsylvania over the weekend? Like legit, a nuclear freaking exploded into the sky, destroying like the two houses, and there's like 5 people dead. I can't believe it. This thing just blew the hell up. That's what that thing just reminded me of. It's crazy. If you haven't seen the video, go find it. It's crazy, man.
The forest home, Murlocs crawl upon the coasts
so many videos
of the
for
lakes
people's ring
and
doorbells.
rivers, often endangering fishermen. Kobolds tunnel through the myriad mines to disrupt business. And gnolls somehow keep finding their way into the forest despite the best efforts of the patrols from Stormwind City. Said gnolls have been a consistent thorn in the side of the human settlers, launching frequent and vicious raids on human towns and convoys that eventually spiraled out of control.
There's some bad
enemies. Several centuries ago, the gnolls became unusually organized under the iron fist of their new alpha, Pack Lord Garfang, who had spent several years steadily conquering other tribes and assimilating them into his own force. His above-average intelligence led to strange and successful changes in the strategies the Gnolls would employ, organizing his new army into raiders and deploying them effectively.
I thought it was a drug lab.
Within a year, almost a third of all of Stormwind's settlements had been struck, leading then King Berethan Wrynn to call his banners and organize his best men for a desperate gambit to end this Gnoll war once and for all. Under the cover of night, he sent his strongest warriors out of Stormwind, sneaking past the Gnoll's defenses. And the next time they attacked Stormwind, this elite force was able to use the distraction to track down the unguarded Pack Lord Garfang and slay him, disbanding the Warpack and saving the kingdom. The full breadth of this Gnoll war is a story better saved to be told in full another day. But King Berethan became known as the Adamant and led Stormwind into an age of unrivaled economic, political, and social stability and independence. Unfortunately, this would not last forever, and any belief that Stormwind would be able to deal with any danger it faced would be proven tragically over-optimistic. Deep in the southern marches of the Black Morass, the wizard Medivh, guardian of Tirisfal, became possessed by the titan Sargeras, and worked with the orc warlock Gul'dan to open the dark portal, allowing the orcish hordes of Draenor to pour into Azeroth. The resulting conflict, later known as the First War, devastated many parts of Stormwind's kingdom. The southern parts of the Black Morass were burned into the Blasted Lands, and the north descended into the Swamp of Sorrows. Westfall was razed by marauding orc warbands. Red Ridge was easily conquered, and when Medivh died during the war, the fell energy unleashed turned the land surrounding his tower home Karazhan into dangerous, thorny blight.
Wait, I didn't know this. So that's why the land around Karazhan's just like I don't know, just like ashed and corpsed everywhere? Because when he died, it just exploded? I didn't know that.
The Brightwood of Elwynn was amongst the hardest hit of these lands, hurtling into an area that would be referred to in hushed tones as the Duskwood. Sadly, the giant spiders that had lived peacefully amid the woodland of Elwynn also fell to the curse that enshadowed Brightwood, becoming aggressive and mutating into monstrous proportions. They now stalk all of the woodland, looking for their next meal.
Damn.
Even the Heartland was not spared, with much of Elwynn burned, plundered for resources, and fed into the Horde's ever-growing war machine. Goldshire, Northshire, and even Stormwind City itself was destroyed, as its king, Lane Wrynn, was killed, and the surviving refugees fled north. Thankfully, this would not be the last the humans saw of their adopted homeland. A second war was fought against the Horde, with a new alliance taking back much of the territory lost in the initial invasion from Draenor. Many towns and settlements were restored to their former glory. I did watch the movie. I never paid attention
to the fact that the explosion caused that to happen around Karazhan. Honestly, the movie was not too bad, but they tried too hard to tell too many stories. If you're going to do a WoW movie or anything about it, you just got to center it around the Lich King. It's the most relatable and best story told in the entirety of the World of Warcraft universe. It's like trying to start the Star Wars series with the story of Rey. You know, like, Rey is clearly not your best story. It's not your best moment. Don't start with the story about Rey. Start with Darth Vader. And then go to a prequel of Darth Vader. So you got to start with Arthas, and then go to a prequel of Arthas. That's the best way to tell the World of Warcraft story. And the prequel would tell these stories a little bit, and then you can move on to something else. Need a Jailer trilogy.
And Northshire and Stormwind City itself was rebuilt into a state larger and stronger than before.
Just trying to,
that being said, the new government under the restored King Varian Wrynn was rife with corruption, led by the Black Dragon Onyxia in disguise, slighting the talented stonemasons guild that led the efforts to restore the city by refusing their rightful payments. This led to dissent amongst the guild, a riot that left the queen dead and the remaining stonemasons exiled. They would eventually form the Defias Brotherhood, who continue to plague Elwynn to this day in one way or another. Their history and the massive conspiracy that they have masterminded to get what they feel they deserve is a tale for another day.
Oh yeah.
Since the Second War, Stormwind has only continued to grow in prominence and power, and is now the beating heart of a powerful alliance that spans the entire world.
Yeah, but the Dark Portal opening is not the best story
to begin an adventure through Azeroth, and though the trouble it faces now seem quaint compared to the trials endured in the past, they are no less important to the people still living here. Due to reasons outside of the everyman's control, Stormwind's army and militias are stretched thinner than ever, and new heroes are called in to step up to meet the challenges left in their wake.
Enter me.
Wolves and bandits are known to harass the people of Northshire, and the Cataclysm opened up a small pass between Northshire and the Burning Steppes, adopted home of the Blackrock Orcs. Under the leadership of the local Marshal McBride, those brave enough are enlisted to beat back each of these threats. And, should they be worthy, the adventurer is sent to aid others in the rest of the forest. In Goldshire, Marshal Dugan has gotten word that the Fargo Deep Mine has been infested by kobolds seeking new sources of gold, and combined with reports of similar activity at Echo Ridge Mine in Northshire, he tasks the young adventurer to scout the mine. Never one to pass up an opportunity, the businessman William Pessel at the Lion's Pride Inn will also hire the adventurer to gather candles from any kobolds for their wax. And the gold dust left behind by the slain creatures can be sold to the odd salesman Remy 2 times for a tidy profit. After confirming the reports, Marshal Dugan then sends the adventurer to confirm similar reports at the more distant Jasper Lode mine. Once again, finding the word to be true, Dugan is forced to increase patrols near the mine so they can be reopened. Upon returning to Goldshire, Pessel will call upon the adventurer for a favor. They will be told of the nearby Stonefield and McClure farmsteads, areas that may have drawn their eye while dealing with the Fargo Deep Mine. The farms are run by 2 families with a fierce rivalry, and during his last visit to the McClure vineyards, Pessel heard Maybelle McClure crying in her cottage. Fearing for her, William wishes for someone to check in. After some brief discussion, Maybelle will reveal that she and Tommy Joe Stonefield have fallen in love, an obvious issue given the bitter rivalry between their families.
We got star-crossed loving
Maybelle's
farmers.
Request, the adventurer will deliver a love letter to Tommy Joe, who himself will ask for help to resolve this. The adventurer is sent to his grandmother, Grandma.
Tommy Joe says, "Welcome to the gun show." Oh yeah, no wonder why she fell in love. Look
the
at
adventurer
that.
is sent to his grandmother, Grandma Stonefield, who is against the petty feud and agrees to help the 2 lovers. Pulling her own favor with Pessel, the adventurer will gather crystal kelp frond from murlocs living in the nearby Crystal Lake, helping Pessel concoct an invisibility liquor for Maybelle. Upon delivery, she will profusely thank the adventurer, and though she feels some guilt for deceiving her family, she drinks the liquor and vanishes from sight, to reunite with her young lover. Along the way, adventurers will be tasked by Auntie Bernice Stonefield to help find her lost necklace. She is convinced that the young Billy McClure stole it for a laugh. Upon interrogating Billy, he informs adventurers that he is too hungry to remember, but that his memory could be enticed with one of Bernice's famous pork belly pies.
Jeez.
After hunting a few wild boars, the adventurer gives the ingredients to Bernice, who begrudgingly makes the delicacy in the name of her keepsake.
This is a lot, all for these 2 farmers to get it in with each other. There's a lot going on here.
Once he has had his fill of the pie, Billy still refuses to admit wrongdoing, but does unconvincingly point the finger at a large kobold in the nearby mine, Goldtooth, who took the necklace after Billy dropped it near the mine. Indeed, after slaying the large kobold, the adventurer will recover the necklace and return it to a grateful Bernice. Elsewhere on the farms, the family matriarch Ma Stonefield airs her grievances with Princess, the prized sow of another rival farming family, the Brackwells. Princess often crosses the entire forest to eat the vegetables of other farms, much to their collective annoyance. Ma Stonefield wants to put an end to this reign of terror, asking the adventurer to bring her princess's brass collar as proof of the deed. Whispers say that the beast can occasionally be spotted in all corners of Elwynn, sometimes flanked by a powerful porcine entourage.
I didn't know
How
all
true
this was
that
going
remains
on.
today is uncertain. After being sold the gold dust from Fargo Deep Mine, the peculiar merchant Remy 2 times will tell the adventurer that the Murloc threat is growing across the forest, and request they speak to Marshal Dugan to convince him of such. Though he cannot send more troops east without proof, Marshal Dugan will task the adventurer to head east and speak to Guard Thomas, who confirms the Murlocs have become more aggressive.
Oh, great.
Thomas had earlier sent 2 soldiers, Rolf Hartford and Malachi Stone, to investigate the disturbances further, but both have since disappeared. As a result, Thomas entrusts to the adventurer to track them down and save them if necessary. Sadly, both guards were killed by the murlocs and stripped almost to the bone. Yeah. The adventurer then clears out many of the nearby murlocs in revenge, making the shores of Elwynn safer once again. Once the forest is clear of the growing kobold and murloc threats, Marshal Dugan has a final...
I don't know if murlocs actually eat people, but there's a lot of quests I remember where you find somebody killed by murlocs and all that's left is a pile of meat. I wonder if they just like savagely tear them apart or if they actually eat humans.
Assignment for the adventurer to aid the Westbrook garrison in their defense against the Riverpaw Gnolls invading from Westfall. They have organized under a powerful new leader, Hogger, in shades of the Gnoll Wars centuries ago, and the city militia surely wants to put an end to his reign of terror before another warpack arises. Thankfully, a group of adventurers are able to thin the number of Gnolls and take on Hogger, weakening him enough so that...
fucking solo this shit. Get the hell out of here, group. You don't need no group.
He is arrested and impounded in the Stockades prison to face true justice. Throughout all of these quests, adventurers begin to notice a through line, a conspiracy connecting the Murlocs, kobolds, and gnolls to the more organized human banditry that runs throughout the kingdom. This is of great concern.
Enter Westfall and Dead Mines.
We will get to it someday, but it is a much larger and more interesting story that needs to be told in depth at another time. Still, there are many other secrets hidden within the enchanting wilderness of Elwynn Forest. References to pop culture and memorials to the real-world people who have passed since Warcraft's inception. If you'd like to hear about those, check out this video's companion where we covered the hidden secrets and environmental Easter eggs in Elwynn Forest. Or if you'd like to hear how the Defias Brotherhood came to be and the story of the Dead Mines, check out this video where I talk about their lore.
I like these videos a lot, man.
Where would you like for us to adventure and uncover the lore of next? I'm thinking probably Durotar. That makes sense to me. But it can be in either Azeroth or in worlds beyond. Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.
Like I said, there's just such deep lore in these vanilla zones that you never expect. And if you're not reading the quests like I didn't, obviously, I just wanted to level up back then, you won't realize it. But these zones are so well fleshed out, these vanilla zones. And Elwynn Forest is easily my favorite.